afternoon from the kitchen, folks, for another Air Still adventure. Today I'm going to be using the Air Still Pro, which has been loaned to me by those wonderful fellas at brewathome.shop to create a white rum. So I've got 20 litres of tomato paste wash, which I completed in December 2023, racked into demijohns just then. It's 13.8%, so I've got 4 of these basically, which I need to run through the Air Still Pro, and I'm going to run them through twice on a stripping run and then a spirit run. So in this film today, I'm just going to show you the stripping run for one of the demijohns because it's a very repetitive process. There's no point in you watching me do all of that. So I'm just going to tip my tomato paste wash into the drum of the Air Still Pro. And that is now up to the full level. So I've got 4 litres in there and there is about a litre left in here. I'll do that later. So there's the 4 litres of tomato paste wash in the Air Still. You can see the full mark just down there. Now at this point, the next step I would normally make would be to add some distilling conditioner into here to prevent this from erupting and boiling over. However, I have run out of distilling conditioner, but I have been doing this tomato paste wash for a while and it hasn't yet boiled over, so fingers crossed that won't happen today either. Right, let's get the lid on, and you've got to make sure that this seals tightly, a nice vacuum seal. Just push that down, that feels good. And then you'll note at the side that I just need to very slightly adjust this to get that power cable in just there. You don't want this to be bent, it will damage the wire. You want a nice straight line on that. And I'm going to turn this column round, or turn the whole still round I should say. And then from this side I'm going to attach the power cable. Then I'm going to plug it in over here, like so. So electricals are now all in place. I'm just going to tidy that bit of wire up, move it out of the way. Raise and tilt that underneath. There we go, that's better. So I'm going to put the tall glass jug in place to catch the distillate that comes out. So I'm all set up and I'm distilling today in reflux mode. So all I need to do is turn this on. It will go white to indicate that that's in standby mode, and then I press it once more. It goes green and that's in reflux mode. The fan will kick in for a few seconds. And then that will switch off. And that's it. So what I'm waiting for now is for the drum to heat up so that the alcohol begins to evaporate. When it gets to temperature, the alcohol will begin to evaporate up through some tubes. The fan will cool it down. I'll get the foreshots in here and then I'll get the distillate coming out of here in the stripping run. It's probably going to take an hour to 90 minutes to get up to temperature. There is nothing else left for me to show you at this point. I'll come back to you when something starts happening. See you then. It's a busy kitchen, but just an update. If you can hear that, it means that this is getting up to temperature and it won't be long before the foreshots come through. I'll probably miss that, but I'll try and catch it. And the Air Still's kicked in and you can see that it is gathering the foreshots in the collection vessel. It won't be long before they start coming out of the spout. And there we go, dripping has now commenced into the collection vessel. Hey folks, it's 5 hours later and this has just stopped outputting. So you can see what's there in the jug. I don't know what the quantity is. I'm not too bothered at the minute. I'm not going to measure the quantity yet, and I'm not going to take the alcohol yet either. I'm going to wait until I've got everything through the Air Still Pro. So what I've just done, I've got to repeat until I've got all of my tomato paste wash through there. Once I've done that, I will come back to you and we'll take some measurements. See you then. Hey from the kitchen folks, it's 2 days later, which makes this still day 3, and the stripping run is done. Here is what I've collected from the 4 of demijohns, or 20 odd litres of tomato paste wash at 13.8% that went into the Air Still Pro. So that was the stripping run, and what that's done is it's stripped out all the flavours and everything, and it's basically just left me with what should be about a 90% base spirit. Today I'm going to clean this up even further and do a spirit run with it. It might take me 2 days to do that, but we'll see. So as ever, the Air Still Pro needs to be dismantled. I've been doing this on and off since I started with this run. Something that I haven't showed you what I do yet. If you've seen my films before, you'll have seen this before. But this is the collected foreshots just there. And what I'm going to do is just get a bit of tissue, because this leaks. So I'm going to put that underneath the foreshots collection vessel, and then I'm just going to remove the foreshots from there. And you know, this is essentially petrol, and what you don't want is this going everywhere because it's highly flammable. Just give that a dab. And so my foreshots simply go into this here, and I use this as fire lighter. No point in throwing it away. So my foreshots collection vessel can now go back in there, and I'll just give this one last wipe. And I'm just going to lift this now off of the drum. There we go. So this is what is left inside the Air Still Pro after the last run that I've done in there, and you can see it's some milky stuff, and this is no good. This is going down the sink. You can use it instead of water in bread recipes, but you've got that much of it that it's just not worth it. And then all I do is just give the Air Still drum a rinse with some clean hot water, give it a little swirl round, and there we go. We're good to go now, nice and clean in there. So I do want to measure the alcohol by volume of what I've collected from the Air Still Pro. Experience tells me it should be about 90% or just under. Let's get the alcometer in there. And the alcometer is floating on exactly 90% ABV. So I've got a couple of big jugs, and with these I'm now going to measure the physical quantity that's there. So we've measured the alcohol by volume, now the physical volume. So across the 2 jugs I have got exactly 2.8 litres of 90% spirit. So I'm going to add my 800ml of 90% spirit into the Air Still drum. And I'm going to add near enough a litre from this one in there also. So I've got 1.8 litres of 90% spirit in my Air Still drum. Now I cannot distill a 90% spirit, it's very unsafe to do so. So I need to dilute it down to 40%. So I'm using alcohol dilution calculator. It's a website, just Google search alcohol dilution calculator, and I've put the figures in there. So I'm starting off at 90% and I want to get it to 40%. Before dilution, I've got 1.8 litres of spirit in there, and that's telling me I need to mix it with 2.25 litres of water, which will give me 4.05 litres of 40% alcohol. Now that's going to take me slightly over the full mark, but just a fraction, and it'll be fine. So I'm just putting my water in a jug so I can measure it, and I'm using hot water so when the Air Still drum starts to heat up it does so quicker. I'm just going to pour this in, and then I'm just going to get the rest in to take it past the full line. A bit more, that'll do. Right, that's fine. So that's what I've got inside the Air Still Pro drum. This will clear out, don't worry about that. But you can see the full line, and I've just slightly surpassed it. So I've just got to put the Air Still back together now, and I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. So I'm just going to show you the arrangement. So it still looks exactly as it did before. The only minute difference I'm going to make is that I'm going to collect the first 200ml in this jug. Now I'm doing this based on advice. So this collects the foreshots, but what I've found with my spirits that I'm making is I'm still getting a slight methanolic tinge. So I've been advised to remove the first 200ml as heads and then see how that goes. So that's what I'm going to do today. So just like before, turn it on once, turn it on twice. You want the green light, you want the fan to kick in. And now I'm playing the waiting game. So I'll come back to you when it starts to kick in and I'm collecting the heads out of there. Right, see you then. Quick update from the kitchen. You can see that the foreshots are now being collected in the vessel as this has all just kicked in. So now I need to get the first 200 ml separated out, which are going to be the heads. I'm not going to throw those away incidentally. Those are going to be rerun through the air still at a later date. And there we go, dripping has commenced. I'll come back to you in 200 millilitres time. Okay folks, it's took a bit longer than expected. I think I might have been going about an hour with this, but I'm on my 200 ml now, so I'm going to swap collection vessels over. So just like that. And there's the 200 ml in that jug. I'm going to pour this into this plastic bottle. Yes, I know it's plastic, but don't worry. It's not going to be in there too long, just a day. Lid goes on, that's done. There's literally nothing left for me to do with this now. All I've got to do is just leave it. So I'm going to come back to you when this is completely done, and then I need to put the other lot through there also. So I'll see you then. Hey folks, I'm back from the kitchen with an air still update. Here we are. I've just had a swap over of jugs to see what the output was, and I'm on just under a litre, so it's not going to be too much longer before this is done. But I thought while this is outputting, I might as well go to the next stage as well, which is to begin to filter this using a carbon filter. So this is the carbon filter. It came from Still Spirits with my original air still, and that's the big collection bucket that it goes into. So if I just drop that in there, it sits in quite nicely. If I have a quick swap around of jugs, and this is the litre that I've got so far, I'm going to pour that into here, and the carbon filter should clean this up a little bit. It will hopefully reduce the methanolic qualities and give me something which is purer at the other end. So I'll pop the lid on, and this is definitely an overnight process, so I won't see anything from this today, but by tomorrow there should be something that's come through there which is going to be cleaner than what's gone in the top. Anyway, I'm still waiting for this lot to finish going through. It's been going a good 5 hours now, at least. It's been a right busy day today. Oh, and guess what? Mrs. has trekked me to a Ninja food processor. She's great, isn't she? Hey folks, it's the next day. It's still day 4, and here is what I have collected through the filter. I'm on 1.4 litres of distillate. And I'm going to pour this into a clean and fresh demijohn. Right, today I've got to run the rest of the spirit through, just like you've seen me do with this one. Repeat the process, filter it. It's completely and utterly repetitive. There's no point in you watching me do that. So I'm going to come back to you tomorrow when it comes to the next stage in the brew process. So catch you tomorrow. Hey folks, I'm back. It's the following day. The air still has done its thing, and this is what I have got. So I'm estimating that I've got about 2 litres or just under 2 litres of spirit in here, which is going to be about 90%. I'm not measuring it at the minute. I'm going to come back to it in a few days. In the interim, what I'm going to do is take the airlock out, and I want this to breathe. I want it to try and dissipate any of the methanolic qualities that it might have. There is a methanol tinge in there. I don't know if it's possible ever to get rid of it completely. I don't know how this is going to compare to previous brews I've done. Obviously I've removed that 200 ml when it's come out on the spirit run, so hopefully it's going to be better, and it might be better once I've diluted it as well, because don't forget this is pure 90% spirit. Anyway, I'm waffling. What I'm going to do for the next few days is literally put this on top so no nasties can get into it, and I'm just going to leave it to breathe somewhere dark, somewhere out of the way, and then I'm going to come back to it and take it from there. So I'll see you in a few days' time and we'll have an update. In the interim, I've got another tomato paste wash to sort out now. Get this racked into demijohns and then through the air still. Big Betty's been working hard for me over Christmas and New Year, but that's going in another film. And with this one, I'm going to be making some gin, so look out for another gin film from me. Right, catch you in a few days' time. Hey folks, I'm back. It's 4 days later. Big jugs are out again. I'm going to physically measure now the final outputted spirit after both runs. So I'm just pouring into the big jugs. This has been breathing with the mesh on since you last saw me. And that is actually just one jug in there now. Right, we have gone down a bit. Interesting. So I've gone over the 2 litre mark, but not by much. I would say, looking at that, I've got 2.1 litres of spirit. Now this is likely to be 90%. Oh dear, I've got less than 2.1 litres now. This is a terrible pouring jug, you know. Yeah, it's really rubbish. I guess I should just get a funnel. That would be the sensible thing to do. I'm not sensible. Stuff that's dripping off this is dripping back into the jug, by the way. So I'm just going to take the alcohol by volume again using the alcometer, which is sinking stupendously well. And this is coming back to me on, I would say, 89% is what I'm going to say for that. 89%. I reckon if I pour from the side of this jug, I'll get a better result from the spout. Yep, still leaking a bit. What a rubbish jug though. So I've probably got just less than 2.1 litres now, but I'm fine with that. Right, I've used the alcohol dilution calculator website. Just Google search alcohol dilution calculator. It's very handy. I've put the figures in. So I've told it that I've got 2.1 litres of alcohol at 89% ABV. It's told me that if I want to get this down to 40%, I need to add 2.57 litres of water. Now, bearing in mind I've dripped a bit, I'm going to put 2.5 litres of water in, and I think that'll be fine. That should then give me 4.67 or 4.6 litres of alcohol at 40% ABV. So I'm going to add 2 litres of spring water into this to begin with. You can see the discoloration as this is happening. That will clear up, so don't worry. It's the pastis effect. There's a proper name for it, I forgot what it is actually. And then alongside that, I'm going to add 500 ml of plain old tap water. Council pop, as it's known where I'm from. And I've popped the alcometer in the demijohn, and it's pretty hard to see through the curved glass, but it is bang on 40%. So that's good. Right, I need to stop and make a change to the advertised programme because I've made a bit of an error. I thought that I had 3 sachets of white rum flavouring from Still Spirits. I don't. I've got 1 sachet of white rum flavouring, I've got 1 sachet of Blue Jewel gin, and I've got 1 sachet of whiskey. How did I even not see the colour of that? Well, it was kind of at the back and I just hadn't seen it. So I'm not just making white rum, I'm actually making all 3 now using the Still Spirits flavourings that came with my original Air Still. So each of these flavouring sachets does just over a litre, 1.125 litres it says. I'm just going to take it at a litre. So each one of these big and small bottles together adds up to a litre. So I'm just going to basically do a litre for each flavouring. I have used other flavourings before, not necessarily Still Spirits ones, and they haven't been that strong, so I really don't think that doing it as a litre rather than 1.125 litres is going to do any harm at all. So for each of the spirit flavours, I've got to get a litre of spirit in this jug. Oh! And that's how you break an alcometer. Bugger. I'll have to buy another. Flipping heck. Right, never mind. Right, that's 1 litre of spirit in the jug alongside my broken alcometer. And I am going to start with the white rum flavouring because that's what I was meant to be doing. I'll snip the top corner of the sachet and then just pour that into the jug. Now it does smell of white rum, I must admit. It smells of something. It smells of, you know when you buy liqueur chocolates and they all kind of taste and smell the same? That's what it smells like. Using a teaspoon, I'll give this a stir around. And I'm just going to gently pour it into the bottle. That's just to the neck. Then I'll get my little one. That's just to the neck also. So I've literally got what would be a double measure left in there. I think I'm just going to put it back in the air still with the next lot of stuff that I put through. So I'll pop it in this glass and that's where all my spare bits will end up. Right, I've got to repeat that process now for the other 2 flavours, for the gin flavour and for the whiskey flavour. Once I've done that, I'll come back to you for the next step. Okay, here's the net outcome. So this is my white rum, just there. There's the whiskey in the middle, and there is the gin. So I'm going to do something else with these in a second, but just to point out that this is the bits and bobs I had left over in the jug each time. That's just going to get run back through the air still with the next wash that I put in there. And this is the clear spirit at 40% that I've got left. So there's over 1 litre of that clear spirit left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I've run the still again and I've got some more clear spirit and I'm going to make a batch of gin with it. That's not going in this film, that's going to go in a different film. Back to this lot. So this is vegetable glycerine, and in each of those bottles I'm going to put a few drips of this. Not too much, I could measure it but I can't be bothered. I kind of know visually what I'm looking for, and this just smooths it out. It takes a bit of the sharpness off it, the burn if it's there. Now if there's no methanol present in there, the burn should be minimal anyway, but this kind of just helps it anyway. So in the bigger bottle, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in the smaller bottle, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And repeating this one. Right, that's the glycerine in. It's just a case of sealing the bottles now. A very nice and straightforward job compared to doing ciders, etc. So shove the cork in, you're ready to go. Bung in. Done. I've got to do that with the rest of them. When I've finished, let's make some labels. Right, so I've designed a label on an app called Printmaster, which comes with this Fomamo Bluetooth printer, and I'm just going to print off a couple of copies for each of the ones that I've just made. Nice and straightforward, as if by magic. I've got to do that for the other 2 spirits. I'll come back to you shortly. So that's done, and it's now just simply a case of sticking them on the bottles. I'll come back to you when I've done them all. And there they are, like 6 proud soldiers. So believe it or not, after all that effort, the 3 little ones are for me and the 3 big ones are for my dad. He's more of a spirit drinker than I am. Anyway, I'm going to come back to you in a week's time for the opening and tasting. Catch you then. Good evening from the kitchen, folks. It's 1 week later and I'm now going to sample my spirits. So I've got them all out ready to go. I've got the rum, I've got the gin and I've got the whiskey. I'm going to try them neat and I'm going to try them with mixers. And before I continue, just to point out that this film's going to have background noise because I'm currently making a gin from juniper berries. Now you'll note if you watch my films regularly that I'm not a neat spirits drinker really, so my facial reactions might not belie the truth, but I'll try and be as honest as I can. So I'm going to begin with the whiskey, 40% ABV. and it doesn't really smell of whiskey. It smells of generic air still spirit. What can I describe it as? That's what it smells like. Okay, let me just try it. So in this glass, I've just got a little bit in there. Again, it doesn't smell of whiskey particularly. It smells more like sort of a caramelly vodka-y sort of smell. Right, give it a little taste. Now it does taste like really harsh, awful whiskey. It's not great, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, it does taste like something that, you know, when you were a child and or you were a teenager and you first got to sample a bit of whiskey and you went, oh, because it was so hot and burning. Well, yeah, that's pretty much where this is. It's on that spectrum. Okay, right. Let's make the glass and a little bit more. I'll stick a bit of lemonade in, see what I think. I like these new bottles, by the way. You can't take the lid off, so that's an anti-littering measure. Although when it comes to the plastic recycling, the different kinds of plastic, does it pose a problem? That's something I'd like to know. Does anyone know? Please say in the comments. I once read that Lucozade bottles were a nightmare for recycling plants. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I read. Right, so it looks okay in the glass. You know, it's just typical sort of whiskey colour, slightly paler than maybe than what you'd expect. It's perfectly palatable with the lemonade actually, but it doesn't really taste like much of a whiskey. If you'd given me this blind, I wouldn't have guessed it was a whiskey. That's the truth. I would have probably thought it was some vodka type drink. But okay, so that's the first one, so that's the whiskey. So okay with the mixer, bit harsh on its own, that's my verdict. Let's move on to the gin. So the gin is a blue jewel gin, so I'm guessing that's modelled on by name one of the gins that comes in a blue glass bottle. Is it Bombay Sapphire? Now, I'm just going to go back to the whiskey. I want to compare the smells. Yeah, they do smell different, but I'm not getting gin. I'm just getting, again, some kind of generic spirit, but that's got a sweeter smell than what that one's got. So blue jewel gin at 40% in blue glass. See what I'm doing here? Right. Again, it just smells like generic air still spirit. Oh God, that's horrible. Oh my God. Oh. That is not nice neat. I mean, gin's not nice neat anyway, but that is double not nice neat. That's horrid. Gosh, it tastes like burnt molasses. Why does it taste burnt? It does not taste like it looks. Oh, that's not good. Right, see what I said about my face? Right, let's get it mixed. So a bit more in here. And I'm going to add the tonic to this one. G&T. Sounds rather pleasant, doesn't it? Will it taste it? Slightly flat tonic water as well. It's what happens. This is not Hollywood, this is real life. Right. Smells much better with tonic. It still tastes really bitter. I could force myself to drink it. I wouldn't choose to drink it. It's somewhere between bad and horrible. It's got a really sort of burning flavour, not like it's not burning hot going down on my esophagus. It's the taste. like burnt rubber or something. It's weird, it doesn't taste like a Blue Jewel, that's for sure. So still spirits, I do love your air still, but you need to work on your flavours because that's not gin. Right, on to the next one. And this is my white rum, and this is what I thought I was making solely, didn't realise I was making the rest. But anyway, let's get top off. It's got a liqueur-y smell, it's slightly sweeter smell than the others, and actually a more pleasant smell than the other two, so that's something. The white rum goes in the purple glass, no colour relation there. So neatness, yeah, it's got, you know what I mentioned earlier in the film, the liqueur chocolates kind of a taste and smell. That's what I'm getting from the smell. Right. Oh God. It tastes like, can you imagine if somebody had given you a shot of vodka with a shot of whiskey in it? That's what it tastes like. It's horrible. Oh my gosh. Now you might like this, and I'll tell you what, if you really like harsh spirits then you'll love it, but not for me. Right, I need to mix this. If it was amazing, I'd tell you it was amazing. It's not amazing. No, that lid just came off. And it's made by the same company, I think, as Sprite. Or is it? Oh no, it's not. Coca-Cola Schweppes. Sprite? Is that PepsiCo? Coca-Cola? Up your game. Right. Considering how awful that tasted neat, that's not bad with Coke in it actually. That is reasonably drinkable. I'm going to go as far as to say, as if you'd given me this and said, what is this? I'd have gone rum and coke. I would have guessed it was rum and coke. So that is a very positive sign. Now neat, horrible, with coke, actually quite drinkable. So out of the three, the white rum one is definitely the best in terms of adding it to a mixer. That I could get used to. It's fine, actually, totally fine. It doesn't taste like the most amazing white rum I've ever had in my life, but it's not bad. And importantly, all three of them were not particularly methanolic, so that's good. So I think I've got the heads out of there, and I'm really pleased about that. That's a winner. I'm fine with that. So still spirits flavours, the whiskey, not keen on, the Blue Jewel gin, really not keen on, the white rum, decent, with a mixer. Okay, so that's my verdict. Hope you've enjoyed the film. I've been completely honest, like I said. So try for yourself, see what you like, see what you don't like. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, and I'll catch you on the next film, whatever that may be. Please subscribe to the channel, it really helps it grow. Leave comments, all that sort of stuff, like, press the notification bell. Makes me happy. Right, I'm going to go and enjoy this one because it isn't that bad. Cheers, folks. The film that you've just watched is a Moss Home and Garden production. You can find more by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. I'd just like to say thank you very much for supporting my YouTube channel and for watching my films. It really is very much appreciated. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to receive future updates about the home and garden films which I upload. You can find my YouTube channel by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. Please click on the red subscribe button. When you've done that, a little bell will appear. If you press that also, then you'll get future updates about the films which I upload. If you like my films, if you like my style of filming, then you might also like my travel channel, which you will find by going to youtube.com/Stuart Moss or type in www.mosstravel.tv. Again, if you could subscribe to that channel, it would be hugely appreciated. If you'd like to get Moss Home and Garden updates on Facebook, then please open Facebook and do a search for Moss Home and Garden, and you will find the page. If you like the page, then you will get future updates on there. And if you'd like to connect on Instagram for home, garden and travel photography, as well as some stories, then my username is StuMoss, STUMOSS. If you'd like to connect on Twitter, then my username is @StuartMoss. And if you'd like to contact me about film usage or any other issue, please just email me on stewmosshomegarden@gmail.com. Once again, thank you very much for supporting my channel, for watching my films. I do appreciate it. I'd just like you all to have a great day.